Hi guys, and welcome back to another Premier League video. Today we're hitting the halfway mark, round 19, quick recap on round 18, and only 4 fixtures actually took place. I got one score correct out of those. Man City beating Newcastle 4-0. Now let's get into this weekend's fixtures. And starting off with Liverpool taking on Leeds. Now Liverpool, they drew their last game 2-2 with Spurs. It was a game that they, to be honest, they struggled in. Spurs created so many chances, and if they could finish, would have won the game comfortably. There were some controversial moments in it. I'm not going to go into it, but Liverpool were in very good form before that. They'd won a lot of games in a row. Got a draw against a tough Spurs side under Antonio Conte. So they obviously, Liverpool are still on form, and to get a result out of a game that I don't think they really deserved is just credit to them. Now Leeds, they've lost 3 in a row, one of those being that 7-0 battering by Man City, and they're just really struggling. Their squad is normally thin anyway. Bielsa likes working with a small squad. However, with the amount of injuries that have hit them, they don't really have a squad. So, with pretty much everyone being out, them having to use the youth. I know there was a 15-year-old on the bench in their last fixture, I'm pretty sure. So, that just sort of says it all about Leeds' current situation. But, I think, to be honest, this is easily Liverpool's. Again, it's sort of guessed the score. How high can they go? But I'm going to stick with a comfortable Liverpool to win 3-0. Moving on to Wolves versus Watford. And Wolves are amazing defensively at the moment. They drew 0-0 with Chelsea in their last game. They've conceded 2 goals in their last 7. Those 2 goals were a 1-0 loss against Man City and a 1-0 loss against Liverpool. They didn't concede in the rest of the games, including playing a team like Chelsea. So, Wolves are just very solid defensively. And as I said, I'm pretty sure last week, if they could attack, they'd really be able to put a run together and head towards the Europa League spaces. I think this one, to be honest, they're playing a Watford side, lost 4 in a row. Watford are struggling, although I still rate their attack quite highly. I think they've got some good attacking players, but they can't defend to save their lives. So I'm going to go Wolves to win 1-0. Burnley versus Everton next. This one's also postponed, like the last 2. But Burnley, in their last 3 games, they've only conceded 1 goal, which is good. But they haven't scored, so they've drawn 2 and lost 1. They just struggle for goals, sort of similar to Wolves. They've started getting better defensively now, but they can't score. Maxwell Cornet has been out. Probably the main reason they can't score. He was on great form when he was playing, but they just need to get something going in attack to start winning some games, because they're dangerously close to the bottom of the table. Now Everton, they drew their last game 1-1 with Chelsea, very young Everton side, and they did well. I wasn't expecting that result at all. I don't think even Everton fans would have expected a draw then. Good result, but I see another draw here. I think Everton, they're quite easy to score past. Burnley have got better defensively, but can't score. So for me, it's either going to be a 0-0 or a 1-1. And I'm just hoping that it's not as boring as a 0-0. So I'm going to go 1-1. Man City versus Leicester next. And this is a game that has had a few shocks over the past few seasons. I remember Leicester winning one, I think it was 5-2. Maybe last season, maybe the season before, I can't remember when. But yeah, this always seems to be an interesting, high-scoring fixture. Both teams do tend to score from my memory. Now Man City, in the last 2 games, have scored 11 goals. So they are very likely to score in this one. 8 wins in a row now in the league. Leicester, they won their last game 4-0 against Newcastle. And they seem to have their attacking edge back. Maddison's playing well, especially. I know in the Cup in the week they got knocked out by Liverpool, somehow lost to like Liverpool's C team. However, Leicester, Maddison was good, Vardy got 2 goals, so in an attacking sense, they're good. Defensively, they're obviously missing Fofana as the main one. And yeah, once he's back, I can see them being very good and challenging a lot of these top sides. But for now, I've got to go with the form. I've got to go Man City to win 3-1. Norwich versus Arsenal next. And there's a few threes in here. Norwich, they've lost 3 in a row. Arsenal have won 3 in a row. That's seen them climb up to, no, not 3rd place, but 4th place. They're doing a good job, Arsenal, and maybe at the end of the season they will be in a Champions League spot after not having European football this season. It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. They've got a lot of great young talents, and within the next few seasons, I think they'll definitely be getting to that Champions League level. But if they could do it this season, even better for them. Back in the Champions League would be great. This game, I could only see going one way, and as I said earlier, a lot of threes. I'm going to go Arsenal to win 3-0. Spurs versus Palace next. And Spurs in their last game were brilliant. The only issue with them was not taking their chances, because they played some great football against obviously a very strong Liverpool side. And they were the better team in the game. They had way better chances. They just couldn't finish. And I think, to be honest, that performance should scare a few Premier League teams, because I haven't seen many teams in the league go up against Liverpool and put in such a confident, pressuring performance on Liverpool. Like they were brilliant, and I'm surprised I'm saying this because Spurs over the last few years have been very hit and miss. Obviously, they got to the Champions League final with Pochettino. Pochettino left, and since then, they haven't really done too much, but maybe they'll be heading for a Champions League spot. They've got a few games in hand, and with the way Conte's turned them around, could be Spurs versus Arsenal for that 4th spot. With Palace, they drew their last game 2-2 with Southampton, and they are a bit hit and miss. They get a lot of draws, sort of like Brighton. But Palace, if you cast your memory back to earlier in this season, faced Spurs when Nuno was having his short little tenure, and Palace won it 3-0. And it was a very shocking result, and it made me think that Palace were about to start playing how I thought they were going to, because at the start of the season they made some very smart, great signings, and I thought, hang on, Palace could be one of those teams here that you don't expect much from, and they deliver. But it hasn't really picked up. As I said, they've drew too many games. If they could have turned some of them into wins, they could be sitting about 6th, 7th right now, because they play well but can't win many games. And for this, I have to back Spurs. They look so strong, and I'm going to go Spurs to win and get revenge 3-1. West Ham versus Southampton next, and we're going to take a 6-game sample size, as West Ham have only won once in their last 6 games, and it was against Chelsea in that 3-2. And they've sort of slowed down in the league a bit. Antonio's not getting the goals, and it's clearly blocking them, because they were so good at the start of the season. Antonio couldn't stop scoring, getting assists. He was linking up with Ben Brahma very well, I remember. But it's slowed down, and they're at risk of starting to slip down the table now. And after having such a great season last season, and obviously they've been very good this season because they're still up there, but I want to see them push on. I like it when an underdog goes on a good run, like when Leicester won the league. West Ham, I genuinely think, maybe not win the league because we're in the Man City dominant era of just they're not slowing down anytime soon. But I'd just love to see West Ham get into the Champions League. I think it would be great. And they just need to start finding the back of the net a bit more often and picking up some wins. Luckily for them, they're playing a Southampton side. In their last 6 games, they've drawn 3 and lost 3. So they're not winning any games either. And I think this is the time where West Ham finally get a win on the board again and just stop losing ground to the teams below them in that push for the top 4. So I'm going to go West Ham to win 1-0. Villa versus Chelsea next. And Villa, they won their last game 2-0 against Norwich. And Gerrard, he's won 4 of the 6 games he's taken charge of. The only ones he didn't win were against Man City and Liverpool, which you can't really blame him for, as everyone tends to lose to Man City and Liverpool. Now, they've been very good. Chelsea were obviously brilliant at the start of the season. They were top for quite a while. They've dropped off recently. They've drawn their last 2 games, a 1-1 draw with Everton and a 0-0 draw with Wolves. Obviously, they lost 3-2 to West Ham as well not so long back. So they've started dropping quite a few points. And I do worry that if maybe they only pick up 5 points out of their next 5 games or something like that, they're probably out of the title race. And I want it to be between the 3 because when it's just Man City and Liverpool, although it can be exciting, you like to see someone else in there. I'm going to go in this game, as much as it hurts me to say as a Blues fan, I think Villa are going to get a point. I think Gerrard's going to do something against one of the big teams, get a result against one of them. I can see a 1-1 draw. Brighton v Brentford next. And there was a very strange stat that I didn't realise. Now, I knew that Brighton hadn't won for a while. It's not so much a stat, but I didn't realise that they hadn't won since September the 11th. Basically mid-September. We're now in December. So they haven't won a Premier League game for that long. Which is crazy because they'd started the season so well. I remember them being top 4, top 5 after about, 5-6 games. They were doing really well. They've won quite a few. But they just can't win now. They've drawn so many. A few losses have snuck in there. Like their last game, a 1-0 loss to Wolves. And they need to start winning games soon because honestly, if they don't win again for a while and they keep drawing all these games, teams are going to start catching them. And they could slip into a bit of a relegation battle. I think they'll be fine, Brighton, because they have got very good players. Graham Potter, very good manager. They just need to start getting some wins on the board soon. They're playing Brentford. They won their last game 2-1 against Watford. Brentford obviously again started the season very well. Dropped off a bit recently. They have got 2 results in their last 2 games, unbeaten. So they were 2-2 with Leeds and obviously 2-1 against Watford. I think this will be a draw. I feel like every Brighton game I go for the same score, 1-1. But I've got to do it again because they draw so many games. The odds just sort of say, if I go for a draw, I'm more likely to get it right. So I'm going to go 1-1. And finally, the only game that's not being played on Boxing Day, Newcastle versus Man United. Newcastle, terrible form, lost 3 in a row, and cannot wait for this January transfer window to come around because they desperately need reinforcements. They're the richest team in the world, and they're just not gonna survive if they don't invest. They're so poor. They just get swept aside by the majority of people. Obviously still only have 1 win in the league so far, and this is the halfway game now and it's against Man U, so they're more than likely going to get to halfway with 1 win, which is just terrible. They're playing a Man United side who have won 3 in a row, won 2 under Ranić, his first 2, won them both 1-0. So they don't score many, but Newcastle, in their last 3 games that they've lost, they've scored 1, conceded 11. Very poor, and yeah, Man United again. I think they'll get more goals this time, Man U, than a 1-0 because they're playing Newcastle. So I'm going to go for a 2-0. So that's it. Those are my predictions for these Boxing Day Premier League fixtures. Now, there's normally quite a lot of goals. It's quite exciting, the Boxing Day fixtures. And I remember every time I look on social media around this time of year, there'll always be the post about that crazy Boxing Day where Ipswich scored like 10 goals or something stupid. And I don't know, there were about 70 goals across 10 games. Something like that. I haven't actually looked at it, but I know it's something crazy. And there's some ridiculous results in there. I think Middlesbrough beat Chelsea by a high score, something like that. But I don't think it's going to be that hectic, especially with 3 games at least postponed as of recording. But again, it should be good, entertaining hopefully, and it's good that there's still so many going ahead, because I was thinking there was going to be a circuit breaking. They had a meeting. It's not happening. Everything's staying as it is, and postponements will just be slotted in somewhere else. At least we've still got football to watch, which is always good, especially around Christmas time. Let me know in the comments what you agree with, what you disagree with, and put your predictions down in the comments. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more Premier League content. Should be some good fixtures, and I know I got some scores wrong there when I was talking about the past Boxing Day fixtures, but I can't remember what happened. I don't think I was alive. So, it should be good, and I hope everyone has a great Christmas.